Hey, what's up? Let's talk real estate. Tonight, I want to go over lesson number 2. I'm doing a mini YouTube mini series about a decade's worth of like real estate knowledge and the painful experiences and what I messed up, just saving everybody the time and the hassle. Also, I've listened to about 10 years worth of like real estate podcasts. So, just trying to summarize those so what I mean, just saving everybody the effort. So today, let's talk about long distance investing, specifically long distance like remodeling or flipping or anything like that, and why I definitively, hands down, 100% recommend that you do not do that. Do not. I mean, I'll go over some tiny little exceptions where it's possible to do it, but for the most part, especially if you're starting out, and especially if this is your first one. I mean, maybe if you're doing hundreds of these a year, and then these contractors you're a huge part of their business, and then they'll bend over backwards to make things right for you. Maybe then it's advisable, but for the most part, absolutely not. Don't do it, and you will 100% regret it. And well, if you don't take my advice, leave it down. Leave it down in the comment section. Have you done a successful out-of-state flip? Did everything go well? I mean, chances are all the stats and chances are stacked completely against you. However, even if it's like 95% odds against you, maybe there is a 5% of people that actually successfully done it, and more power to them. But what type of person will you be try to advise something that has like 95% failure rate? That's why I would not recommend it. And then later on in this video, I will get into my horrible, incredibly bad experience with attempting something like this. And the weird thing is, I'm not a beginner. I do my own plumbing, I do my own electrical, I do drywall. I do a bunch of stuff myself, but even I got swindled. There's a lot of books and podcasts and all sorts of things that advise you how to do this and explain to you, but I don't see much material advising people not to do it, for one clear reason is that these people are trying to sell you a book or a course or advice or mentorship or whatever, what have you. But there's no money in actually telling people that, hey, don't do it, because it's fraught with so many pitfalls. One of which is I do like the podcaster by the name of David Green. He used to be on the Bigger Pockets. I've read his book, that the one with the binoculars on the cover, Out of State Burr or something like that. I've read that book. Reading David's book, it talks about this core 4, and basically you have these people, your team. You have a team of 4, and you have these people each watch each other. And one of his advice was that you would get a highly recommended contractor that would do your work. So the property manager would actually be able to go over there or check on the property. And the theory behind it is that the property manager, it's in the best interest of the property manager to be able to rent out your unit easily. And how can she rent it out easily? Well, because your unit has a really nice, the contractor has done a really nice job remodeling it. Therefore, the property manager is going to really look after your place and identify any small little issues, report it to you. You can have the contractor address it. But I'm here to tell you, all that is complete BS. Like, first of all, this property manager is not as invested as you are. This property manager is not a co-owner of the building, of your rental portfolio, or of your rental. So you can get rid of that property manager anytime. So why would they put in the effort and go to war with a contractor? Or first of all, does the property manager is that property manager happen to be a contractor? Do they have a really good eye? Let's say if you're having a bathroom remodeled, that property manager is that going to walk in, and he or she is going to know, oh, they didn't apply the waterproofing correctly, or they're putting the tiles on the wrong thing, or this and that. No, they're not. They're not going to even know that. And B, if things are crooked, that's the most part, things are going to be crooked and badly done. Well, here's the issue. It's tough. You're going to have to go to war with that contractor, and that property manager. I mean, I guess you can point it out, but I wouldn't even trust that they have a good enough eye. And if you're remodeling remotely, then how big of a budget do you have? Because this is how people get into this mess in the first place. They listen to a podcast. They want to invest into real estate. Okay, they look around. They're in California, Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, and there aren't any rentals that cash flow or make sense, right? So okay, they start looking in Ohio, Atlanta, Baltimore, or something like that, right? And these look like amazing deals, and you can remodel them, and they're going to cash flow like a freight train. Everything's good. Oh, the only problem is you need to find a contractor, and they need to, you need to trust that contractor that they will remodel your property remotely, and you're going to supervise it remotely. Well, the only issue is if the contractor starts screwing you over, you have to fire them, and hopefully you're not smart enough not to give all the money, because that happens all the time. You give all the, like, these people are really tricky. Some people are very shady characters, and they're very tricky, and they want more and more money. So some people will get tricked into giving half of their or all the full remodel budget to the contractor, and they just disappear. Now, of course, there's ways to avoid that. Maybe you don't do that. Maybe you do things on draws, but still, let's say they do a bad job, and you tell the property manager, you're telling the contractor, hey, you installed that shower wrong, or that's wrong, or this and that's wrong. You need to rip it out and put a new one in. Are they going to do that, or are you have to fire them? But then you're finding another contractor that's saying, you know how they are. Another contractor is going to come into that job and say, hey, this is wrong, that's wrong, and they're going to want a lot of money to fix what the first one is done. So now you basically have to start over a lot of things. You have, like, how deep are your pockets, right? It's a horrible nightmare situation. At the end of the day, we're all human, and I would like to, and everybody out there wants to think of themselves as a very honest and hardworking person, and the type of mentality, well, I don't care if my client is on Mars, I would still do my job with, I would still look after all the details with, with utmost care, and then, the quality is not going to suffer. But at the end of the day, especially the people that are working in construction or remodeling or whatever, or handyman, life gets in their way. They have a baby mama problems, they need money, their car broke down, this and that. And then there's some other job, the other two jobs that are yelling at them, screaming, saying, hey, they're going to file a lawsuit if they don't finish this and that. So either they're going to try to scam you on materials, try to buy materials, and because they need the money and return them. They're going to do something really quickly, like really bad, and then just book over to another job, or just take your money and then just keep just working on jobs that actually need their attention the most. And another thing is, I mean, maybe I'm just too much of a stickler for details, but when you send a photo, when you send a photo, and most people look at photos over on their phone, that's such a small screen. Like, somebody sends you a photo, it needs to be a super high resolution photo, and you need to look at it on a big computer monitor, but even then, it's so hard to just mask or conceal, or just from the angle you take something, where you put the light, to conceal all sorts of issues in drywall, and how the way you paint it, and just not even show certain parts that are gaps and cracks. You're just asking for a really horrible remodeling job. If you find a deal in a different state that is so good you can't pass up, and it's so incredible, well, if it's such a good deal, then there should be enough in the room in the deal that, hey, you should probably either you should move temporarily, you should move into that property while it's being remodeled, so you can check every day, or you should rent a hotel, or rent a nearby Airbnb, or yeah, sleep in your car or sleep in your van if you have to. But hey, you might have to work remotely and be there on site daily, daily, checking out maybe 2, 3 times a day. That's the only way to do it, I believe. You have to do it if you want to do something remotely. And then once everything's finished, you can screen the tenant and fly back or drive back. If you have a contractor that you trust and he's a good guy, well, the people under him, they're always changing. This guy gets fired, this guy gets a new gig. You know, the crew is always changing. So somebody can be assigned to tile a shower, a new guy that says they can tile showers, and they do a horrible job. It's crooked. The tiles are really crooked, really bad, awful. Well, what happens then? They have to knock out the tiles and tile it again. That's labor, materials. Who's good if they know you and they know you have a lot of units in the area and you're always giving them work? Well, maybe they'll step up. Maybe they'll step up and actually take responsibility and to make you happy and eat the cost. But if you're like somebody remote that they know that this is one and done type of thing, and you have some property manager saying something, they could care less. They're not going to do it. I guess you can pay them to demolish it or you can either fire the contractor. You could pay somebody else to demolish it and then pay twice or 3 times, because the next person that you're going to hire, I guarantee is going to be more expensive, because the guys you hired are too cheap or their quality is not good enough. So you have to actually even spend more money on a higher paying contractor. I mean, in certain situations where I think it's okay to do a remote remodel, if this is very rare, but the contractor or whoever, that's got to be your family member or really love you or just be a family friend. That's about it. Or you're actually your own brother's doing it, something along those lines. Because at the end of the day, you have to think about it this way: not if something, but when something goes wrong, when something needs to be redone, because something was installed incorrectly, there's gaps, or it just doesn't look good. It has to be pulled apart, a lot of it demoed, redone, and if you have like a family member who's doing the work that's a contractor, well, of course, he loves you. They want you to succeed. They would value your friendship and relationship more than anything. So maybe they eat the cost and go ahead and do it, make it right. But any random person, contractor you'd find on Zillow and Yelp or whatever, you get a recommendation. They're not going to do. Most likely, they're not going to do it. They're just not going to do it. So I have a crew. I use them all the time. But even then, even to this day, I check on them every day and I find mistakes. And these people, I've worked with them for years, and they know what standard I like or I expect. They know this, that, and the third, and I've corrected them a bunch of times on a lot of things. So you would think that they know what I want by now, or the standard I'm trying to set. Every day I want to have like one of my units being remodeled, I stop by and I notice something that's wrong. And then one time I went out of state for a few days and weren't looking after them. They put in the floor the wrong way, or they put a transition where one shouldn't have been. You can tell that they were kind of half-assing it. But even if I'm there coming every day, things are wrong. However, I make them change it. I'm just there, just pointing out with the main guy, like, hey, you got to fix this. They're like, okay, yeah, sir, we'll fix it. Well, and these are credible guys. These guys I've been working with for years. What's going to happen when it's a person that they know that is not going to be there, and the only person that's checking on the work is some property manager or whatever that doesn't even have an eye for detail? Yeah, forget about it.